Good morning. It's a bit quieter than usual today because it's 5 AM, so the traffic isn't going. And I'm going to have another look at the smart meter modem board. It's got some nice components on, and I'd like to scavenge some, so I'm just going to have a closer look at it and then get some bits from it. To make things a bit easier, I'm going to take these two capacitors off the back first so we can see what we're doing. Right, so these are nice capacitors anyway, so they're worth salvaging. 2.7 volt, 50 farad, always useful to our supercaps. And on to the interesting bits of the other side. Okay, so the interesting bits we've got here. Now, over this side we have the Zigbee module, and this is a Silicon Labs part, long range Zigbee device. And looking at the pinout on it, the standard serial port pins are ground in the next two here, and it looks very much like that's not connected. There's a pad here that goes to the let's see, is that transmit data? So the transmit data pin isn't connected, which means they've got a custom firmware on that. So if we recover that, it'll need reflashing. So the part number is ETRX357-LRS, and it's a fairly standard Zigbee part. The next biggest bit is the Sierra SL6087, and that's a fairly standard 2G GPRS or Edge mobile transceiver, and that puts out 2 watts maximum. It'll go down to much lower powers. It does voice, text and low speed data with a serial access AT command set. This uses OpenAT, so that's basically a wireless modem. It's got a connector down here and another one here for the external aerial that we saw when we took the meter apart. In the middle we've got an ARM chip. It's the STM32F101RG, so that's 1 meg flash, 80k RAM, and that can run at up to 36 megahertz. The crystal is 11.0529 megahertz, so that's actually running at 22 megahertz. So it has a PLL clock doubler in it. Now this IC down here, 4-pin thing, I think that's a power regulator. I haven't been able to find a data sheet on that. Its marking is 46H3LJUB, and if you Google that you get lots of things about an airport. So this is the microchip 25PE16V6. That's a 16 megabit SPI flash, and so is this. And then in between them we've got the microchip 23K256, which is a 256 kilobit SPI SRAM chip. So we've got ROM, RAM and ROM. Just here, this is a PNP power transistor. I've not gone through to see what it's connected to, but by the size of it I'd say it's probably power for this thing over here, the radio module. There's several capacitors as well. On the other side, SIM socket, the header that connects to the meter, big resistor, 47R, 4.7 ohms, gold-plated RF connector here, and then there's another RF connector on the component side here. So, the bits that I think are worth salvaging from this. I'm going to try and salvage the Zigbee module, because the home automation stuff sometimes uses Zigbee. Certainly Philips Hue lights are on a Zigbee network, so it'd be interesting to have that to have a play with. Not much use for the IC in the middle, or the modem. The RF connectors I can use, they're useful. I sometimes need tiny RF connectors. And the RAM and ROM chips, I'll probably have those, as well as the big supercaps that came off the other side. They're always useful in portable projects. So, just the connector off that side, I think. Let's start taking it apart. Don't think I particularly need those, but they're in the way. Same with this module, I'm just going to put a tiny amount of leaded solder on, if it will. That just brings the melting point of the unleaded stuff down, which makes them a bit easier to remove. Also going to try and salvage the RAM and ROM. So same again, a little bit of leaded solder, just to make them easier to get off. The unleaded solder has a higher melting point than leaded, so it tends to be manufactured faster and hotter. Then that's not great for the parts, and it makes bad solder joints. This is set for heat shrink. That's better. That's a lot of effort for a broken connector. Maybe I don't need them. Let's see if I can make a better job of it on the next one. that's not bad. In about 40 minutes I managed to get 14 50 farad capacitors, 14 ROM chips, 7 RAM chips and 6 Zigbee modules. The other Zigbee module I didn't bother taking off the board because it looked as though it was water damaged. And a few RF connectors and things. But yeah, that's not a bad way to spend an evening when you can't sleep.